Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Abdullah Konte of Win Sports, and I am here to talk to you about the crazy weekend of football that we just witnessed. Right now, I'm recording this. This is late Sunday or into Monday morning. Just got done watching all these games, obviously, and it was very, very exciting weekend. Obviously, we're jumping straight from NFL playoffs straight into the college football national championship. But first, wanted to review some of these games real quick and just talk about what we saw over the weekend. Look, the biggest thing, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard watching all this playoff games, realizing that last year I was there watching and capturing Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, winning that game against Detroit. It was exactly a year ago. And it's tough, man, when seeing that team and what they were able to do. I kind of wish that they had the success this year, because all the other guys that are in that same draft class as Jaden are all succeeding this year. So it would have been cool for all of them to be succeeding during this playoff run. But it shows that the future is bright for the NFL, with Drake May, with Bo Nix, with Caleb Williams, all playing well. A lot of young talent, man. A lot of young players. Darnold's not super old, but even him being out there, Purdy. We got the new run of QBs and who's going to be really at the forefront of these teams and these games. And I will say the biggest thing that I noticed yesterday was how good the defenses were. So many good defenses yesterday. The last 2 days of games. That Bills-Broncos game, I felt like the Bills played pretty hard. I feel like the Broncos' defense is pretty crazy. It's heartbreaking to see what happened with Bo Nix. And, I still think that they have a chance to beat New England because of how good their defense is. Drake May struggled a little bit in his game. Luckily for him, CJ Stroud looked horrendous in his. So I don't know what's going on with CJ. He just looks off, and it's sad because that Houston defense, I think, was a Super Bowl contending defense. I think they could have, if they would have had CJ play even just half of what he's capable of, I think they could have won that game. And I think it's just disappointing that they weren't able to capitalize on how good their defense was this year. But we'll see if they can reload and bring it back next year. But the Patriots do look good, man. They look really good. That Patriots Broncos game is going to be interesting. It's sad. I think we all wish that Nix was playing, having to throw out Stidham out there. It's not going to be exactly the same, but that defense can play. So we'll see if they can fight for him. And, I did like seeing the Nick Foles tweet, giving him a little encouragement as well as throwing a shot at New England. But yeah, on the NFC side, look, the 49ers Seahawks game was over after that kickoff return. It's just, 49ers just have a bunch of injuries. They couldn't keep up. And I think the Seahawks, if I had to put who I think the best team in the league right now is, I think the Seahawks are. I just think their defense is really good. Their running backs are good. I know a Charbonnet might be hurt. But, K9 is really great. JSN is incredible. So I just think that as much as I'm not the biggest Darnold fan, I feel like they just are playing maybe the best football out of everybody. And then that Rams-Bears game, man. I feel for Caleb because I feel like they played well enough to win. I don't know what that DB was doing on that last play, even though I'm going to give Caleb his kudos. That DB, I don't know what he was doing. He had a great game, actually, though. I think he had 2 picks. But Caleb just being able to put it in. Caleb's best when the lights are brightest. So him making plays right then is not super surprising. I think that's his superpower overall, is that, he might not always be the most accurate. I think he does really good job of playing well when the pressure's on. And it's just disappointing, obviously, for him throwing that pick to Cam Curl. Shout out to Cam Curl. He was one of my favorite Commanders here a couple years back. I'm sad that he had to go, but good to see him making a play. That pick was incredible too. So just good football, man. Just really, really good football. Great defensive play. I'm a big defensive guy, so anytime I see good defense, I used to play defense, so I just love good defenses, ones that are aggressive. And so I'm just excited to see what's going to come from these two games next week. But before then, obviously, what's up in store for the Commanders? As I'm recording this right now, they don't have a defensive coordinator. I mean, I'm hoping to hear some news pretty soon. I think we all are, just to see what is the next step for them. But the big thing is the national championship tonight, right? Like, that's a big game, and there's a lot of good players that the Commanders could be looking at. Obviously, we all know about Ruben Bain. Like, there are obviously guys that we know of already, but there's some underrated players that I think that, they should be considering and looking at. And it's just, look, it's the last time to see any real action from these guys until you have the, Senior Bowl and stuff like that. But basically, this is the national championship, all eyes on it, the biggest stage, who's out to perform, who's going to, play well. So I kind of wanted to talk about maybe some underrated players that, the Commanders should be looking at, or could be potential guys that could be in the building next year. So the three people I won't be talking about really, obviously, are Fernando Mendoza, Ruben Bain, and Francis Marianoa, mainly because, Fernando is a quarterback. They're not looking at quarterback, and he's probably going to go number one to the Raiders anyway. Ruben Bain, I already talked about Ruben Bain, in my last video, talking about who they could potentially grab at, in that number one pick, or excuse me, that first round, at number 7. And then Francis Marianoa is just not a guy I think they would want, because they've already invested so much with Tunsil, Connerly. They don't really need a tackle. He's really good, but I just don't think that's somebody that they're going to be looking at. But, if you want to see good tackle play, keep your eye out for him. But there's three people on both sides, on both teams, that I think should really be, focus on. We should really look at. And I'm going to go in order of the players that, I'm most or least excited to most excited to watch play tomorrow. And the first one's CJ Daniels. He's a little older. He's about, I think, 24. He plays for Miami. A wide receiver, about 6'2", 205. He's pretty good, actually. I mean, he's not the shiftiest type of guy. What I like about him is just that he goes after the ball. He can get up there and get it. He had that one-handed catch, that crazy one-handed catch at the beginning of the year against Notre Dame. I don't remember where he started his career at, but he played at LSU last year and then transferred over to Miami. He's been a good player for them. He has good size. I think that if you're looking to add size to the wide receiver room, this is a player that you could maybe look at in like the 3rd round. I don't think I would use a 2nd rounder on him, maybe a 3rd round pick on him. And most of these guys I'm talking about are probably potential guys that the Commanders, if they traded back into, maybe push to get into the 1st round, or traded back and got a 2nd rounder, guys that they could look at. Because all these guys, I will say, are probably like end of 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round, draft picks overall. But I like CJ Daniels. I'm not like super like, this is a guy they have to have. I would say that if they are looking to add to the receiver room in one of the later rounds, it would be somebody to consider. I think he has, pretty good speed, pretty good agility for his size. And I think his biggest thing is, like, I like that he goes up for the ball. My next guy is Omar Cooper from Indiana. And, man, he's really shifty. He's not super small. He's 6 feet, 204. But he's a very shifty, slot receiver overall. And if you guys saw, you probably remember him from that huge, crazy catch that he had against Penn State to win the game there in the 4th quarter. He's pretty clutch. He is one of Mendoza's main targets overall. I've liked him for a while. He was really good last year as well. So somebody that I've had my eye on for a while. I don't know if the Commanders are looking for like another slot type player. Yeah, I think he could play a little bit on the outside, but with Jalen Lane and Luke McCaffrey as guys that they already kind of have for that slot position, if they just don't feel very strong on them, I'm hoping those guys take bigger jumps in next year. If they're not sold on guys like that, then they could go Omar Cooper here. And I do think he's probably the same thing, probably like a third rounder. Maybe he can pop into the second. I'm not sure. But we'll see. You know what I mean? My next guy is Keontae Scott, who is a corner, 6 foot, 194. He plays primarily like the same thing. He's a big dude for a slot corner, but he plays a lot of slot. He plays a lot like up closer to the line of scrimmage. They send him on blitz packages a lot. He is. He's just a football player, like a very dynamic type of player. I like him a lot. I think you saw he had that pick six against I can't remember what it was, Ohio State. Just very instinctive. Like, I think that's the best thing about finding good players, or people who just kind of know the game and kind of know what to jump and where to go, and just kind of had a kind of read stuff really well. I mean, like how people talk about Downs and how he's able to just be so instinctive. I feel like Keontae Scott is that. And anytime you can get a slot type player who can play that well, or excuse me, that way, it can really change your defense quite a bit. And I just see him making a lot of plays. Like, when it comes to, everybody knows about the front seven for Miami and how good their D line is. I think he's one of the underrated players on their team. So I'm excited to see how he will perform. They got a lot of good receivers at Indiana, so I'm really excited to see this battle between him and some of the receivers there. My next guy is basically one of my favorites. I mean, these last three dudes I really like. I really like all three of them. D'Angelo Ponds, man. This guy is 5'9", 173, plays primarily on the outside, right? This guy hits really hard for a small dude. Like, he's very instinctive. You probably remember him from the play where he had that pick six, first play of the game against Oregon, Indiana versus Oregon. But he's made some really good plays. He forced a fumble in the Alabama game. Just a kind of like, when we talk about, like, I was just talking about instincts when I talk about Keontae Scott. He is similar to, he's a football player, and I know that's kind of like a vague term. Like, what does that mean? It's just guys who understand the game and make smart plays. And I just really like, he's somebody that, I don't know how many people are going to really be on top of him, because of the fact that he's only 5'9", that will scare people away. For an outside corner to be that small, especially with now big old receivers like DK Metcalf, you know what I mean? Like, how does he compare to that? I just like the way how aggressive he can play, and he is one of the better corners in the league, so I like him a lot. He is somebody that I'm not sure what round he would go in. I'm not sure if he would be able to get past third or get past second or something. Like, I don't think he'll be super high. He could be like a really underrated player, but that's basically just off like some of the PFF rankings and stuff like that I'm seeing. But I really like D'Angelo Ponds. The second guy on my list here, Elijah Surratt, also from Indiana. This kid, I was watching a lot of their film looking for Omar Cooper, and this kid kept popping up more and more and more. And I guess maybe I just wasn't aware of him as much. He's a JMU guy who came from JMU, and then transferred over. I think D'Angelo Ponce also came from JMU. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy. He started his career, I can't remember where the first place he was, but nowadays it seems like these guys hit at least 2 or 3 schools because of the transfer portal. But the way he's actually progressed, I guess I've been under the radar, or at least I haven't been following him hard enough. But watching him the last few weeks, he is really, really talented, and I don't think he's gonna kill it at the combine. I mean, he's 6'2", 213, but I don't think he has elite speed. He just makes really smart, he runs really, really good routes and makes really smart decisions. And it seems kind of like the clutch player that Mendoza looks for when he needs a tough third down, when he needs a tough play. He seems like kind of more of like they have some go-to receivers. Him and Omar Cooper have played really, really well this year. But I would just say that, like, yeah, if you watch the game, he just stands out quite a bit. So he's somebody right now, PFF ranks him at 35, which generally would probably mean that he's probably going to be a second rounder. And so this is one of those times where it's like, man, it would be nice, if the Commanders do trade back, like this scenario with all these guys I'm talking about are guys that if they traded back or were able to somehow accumulate some way of getting a second rounder, or maybe trading up from third to second round or something like that. Maybe one of these guys would be available. This is where that Marshawn trade and the Tunsil trade kind of hurts, like, the draft capital that they had. But at the same time, man, you never know what's going to happen on draft weekend. So Elijah Surratt, I just think that if you really are serious about, we don't know what's going to happen in free agency, but if they're really serious about finding a, receiver, a technical type receiver, I really like the way this guy plays. Him and Mendoza seem to be on the same page. It would be nice to see that, the way kind of Terry is, it'd be kind of nice to have another guy kind of like that. And so the last dude I wanted to talk about, and this guy's just been blowing up, when I first started watching, they kind of had him as a third rounder. Now I'm hearing more like late first. I think even Trevor Sikkema had him as his second edge rusher after Ruben Bain, and it's Akeem Messidor. And there's a lot of people who like Messidor much more than Bain. I like Bain more, but I can understand why you like Messidor. If you like Messidor, completely understand it. The only real negative from this guy is that he's going to be 25 by the beginning of the season next year. So it's kind of these guys are becoming older and older because more people are staying in the league longer. But staying in college longer because of NIL and everything. But he's really a strong force. He's more he's slimmer than Bain, obviously, not by much. I guess it shows he's 6'3", 280 here on PFF, but I don't know. He definitely has more agility than I would say than Bain. Obviously, Bain seems to be much stronger of an edge rusher, as well as being able to be powerful and rush the passer. I feel like this guy is much more on the rushing the passer side of things, but he's a hustler. He plays. He doesn't, his motor is really high. He doesn't really stop. He keeps going. And I think that's something when it comes to football, man, the guys who just won't give up on plays. I saw Braden Fisk making plays, in this Rams-Bears game that he shouldn't be making, but just the hustle plays are how your defense gets better. Basically being able to continue to go chase the ball at all times. You want guys who are relentless like that. And so I really like Messidor. I think that, like I said, another trade candidate, if they weren't to trade back and they don't get any of those guys in the top 10 and they trade back and somehow can get, a couple picks, first in the top 40, right? Messidor could be that guy where you're looking for edge help. He could be that edge that comes here and changes things up for this team. So I'm just excited to see these guys play each other because Miami's playing really great football. Indiana has been out of control this year. So let me see. I don't even know what the actual the spread is. I'm curious of who is favored here. But I just know that the way Indiana's been steamrolling people, I don't know how Miami definitely wins this game. I think they obviously can. It's in Miami. Indiana's a 7.5 point favorite, so that's where Vegas sees this going. It's going to be a great, Mendoza's from Miami, so that's kind of cool that he's playing in his hometown. Obviously, Miami playing in their hometown, there's going to be a bunch of alums on the sideline. Obviously, Michael Irvin's going to be out there hoping to pull his belt out like he's been doing the last few weeks. So I'm just excited to see what goes on in this game. I want to see good play, good defenses. Hopefully one of these guys, hopefully they can scoop up one of these players. They got to a championship game for a reason. So I just love the way these guys have played. I'm really excited to see what happens And yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. We've had more love on the channel as of late, more views and more appreciation from everybody in the fan base. I appreciate it greatly. Just a guy who just loves talking sports and wants to continue doing it. So if you like what you've heard, if you like the content, please comment, please subscribe, give us feedback. We're just trying to figure out what the best thing to do with this channel moving forward. But I just love coming here and chatting about it. Hopefully I can get some more people involved in the community to talk about the Commanders and the direction that they're going. There's plenty of guys that I love following and watching their videos. Hopefully I can get them, involved in what we're doing here. But yeah, any feedback, please just let us know. All right. Thank you guys. Take care.